Welcome, everyone, to season 11, episode 12. Oh,
12.
12 reads 12, number 12. Dozen episodes into this season.
1 2 1 2. What the
Is
you
this-
gonna do?
Yeah, there you go. It is episode 224. Who's counting?
My sister, by the way, I'm so proud of her. She is watching Home Alone and she already put her Christmas tree up. Let me find.
Yes,
Beat me.
it is the season.
We're doing that in the day after Thanksgiving. We're gonna get our Christmas tree that weekend.
That's my
And then
tradition.
we're doing family sleepover. Our family, all the kids and wife and I are sleeping all in the same room when they set the Christmas tree up the next day. So it's Saturday or whatever, we set it
Those
up.
nights are fun.
So we just got a new mattress because I needed a new mattress but it's still in the packaging because bulk pickup was last weekend and this weekend's my daughter's birthday party, and having a mattress on the curb for parking purposes just wasn't gonna work. So it's still just in its packaging.
You all planning that stuff. Those are things I don't.
No. I went and started trying to put it together and my wife just came down and was like, no. I was like, oh yeah, that all makes sense. I guess we're not sleeping on the new mattress tonight. All right. I guess another 2 weeks of backache doesn't really bother me too much, you know.
I mean, to be fair, you could just put one on the floor, and you have enough space on your floor.
We could. But so the idea is that we'll set the mattress up that same day, and then we'll put the old mattress down inside the living room before we throw it on the curb the next day. So we can sleep on the giant king size mattress on the.
And you could
floor.
burn the mattress.
We could. That's what I told Happy. She's like, "Where are you gonna
That's
put it?"
what
I
we
was like,
used to do in
"I'll put the fire. I'll put it in the fire pit. Just burn the whole thing." Yeah, burning mattresses. So it's pretty big for my fire pit. My fire pit's not big enough. I need a bigger fire pit.
That's the answer. Build a pit.
Build a big pit. Yeah, just dig a big hole, put it in there, light on fire. Yeah,
there you go.
I'm sure that's not environmentally horrible, considering it's like one of those memory foam mattresses
and our everything else. I mean, we're getting all. I'm literally watching a mic.
The old spring mattresses that were all cloth and everything, that's one thing. But like these memory foam mattresses, I don't know what's in them. Like, all sorts of
very true. I mean, literally, I'm watching this podcast from a lead toxicologist, and she's talking about how, everything we eat is essentially putting microplastics and toxins in our body anyway. So,
yeah,
with direct correlation to cancers and all the other things. So,
all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So, what's one more burning mattress?
What's wrong with them? I don't know.
Add the burning mattress to the whole thing, you know?
Burning mattress man. I have a whole festival for it. Yeah, so personal life, I guess. Yeah, I got a new mattress. My daughter's birthday's coming up, so that's gonna be fun. And then that's it. Getting ready for a birthday party. Get ready for the holidays. Doing all that thing. I spent all day long in the VA just because I wanted to hang out where Ian hangs out all the time. At the VA hospital.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
It's a blast.
Yeah,
I wasn't there for medical reasons. I was there for work, but it's just
Thursday I get another MRI for my back. Of course, by the time they have it scheduled, like I've been doing all the stretches and everything from the last time I went through PT for like the last month, and so I think I've kind of fixed myself. So I'm doing good now. So they're gonna look at it and go, "I don't see anything wrong. Yeah, you're fine."
On a side note,
until I sneeze again.
On a side note for hospitals, apparently a lot of these like doctor groups have my number for my brother's group. My brother. So I get calls all the time about from surgery teams.
Ooh.
And one of these days I'm just gonna lean into it. Like I've been saying I should. Like I think the other day is like, this is someone from blah blah surgical center. Is this Dr. Witt? I was like, I almost was like, yes, it is. Can I help you?
Do you concur?
Do you concur?
Why did I concur?
Did you sever the carotid artery? That's just not good. You got to get back in there, man. Start throwing out random start throwing out random nonsensical medical terms and see what happens and see how far you go.
Your brother loses his license.
I don't know why. By the way, you're wrong number. I got a call one time from a medical donate, like one of these fundraisers. It's like they said, Dr. Witt, would you like to donate? I was like, if you're willing to give me an MD, I will gladly donate. It's from like
Yeah, I'll trade
EVMS,
you.
like Eastern Virginia Medical School. I was like, yeah, can you give us money? I was like, for a degree, 100%. I'll give you $1. I'll donate $1 for an MD. Anyways, maybe honorary. I don't even care. Yeah, fun times. Anyways, I just saw I got a Marco Polo. It's from Chris. Or yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks for letting me know that you're recording a podcast. Fun times. Yeah, so that's it for my personal life. What's going on with you guys? What's going on?
What is going on? Nothing. Life is
What's
life.
going on?
What has happened since the last time we did this? I went camping last weekend with my younger two boys. And it was a lot of fun, but also on the day we got out there, my oldest son, Ryder, he had just gotten off the flu and then some. They thought either food poisoning or stomach virus, like back to back. He had lost like 10 pounds in a week. His immune system was shot. And then boom, he gets this pneumonia that's been going around among, apparently it's the younger group right now that's getting it. A bunch of kids in schools are getting pneumonia. And he got it bad. I saw the x-rays and his lungs were lit up like an 80-year-old with emphysema. So he had to be in the hospital for a few days and just got back yesterday. So he's back at his I guess he's living with his grandparents now. Don't even get me started on that. But anyways, that's where he's at. He's feeling better. It was a little hectic, you know. Even though we knew Ryder would bounce back, he's a healthy kid. Like, you never want to see your kids getting that sick. It's not fun. So, but anywho, that was that. And then, work and gym and staring at the walls. And
we saw Red One this past weekend. It was good.
Cool.
A Red Wall?
Red One. Red O-N-E.
Saw what?
Red One.
Oh, Red One.
Yes, Red
Star Wars?
One. No.
Is it
called Red One? Maybe I'm using the wrong word.
Yeah.
Let me Google it.
Rogue One?
Yeah, Red One. No, maybe. Yeah.
Red One. Okay.
Red One? Yeah. The one with The Rock. Have you guys not seen the preview for it? The new Christmas movie?
Oh, it's this.
Was it pretty good?
Oh, I know you're talking about the Santa Claus stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm ready for goofy, silly holiday movies.
That's exactly what it was. Like, so Saturday I worked and
kick off
then
the season.
we did stuff around the house and family things, and then Sunday was like, okay, we don't want to do anything. Went to church, got done with church, and I was like, we're going to a movie. Like, get in the car, we're going to a movie. And I knew Red One had just come out, so I was like, yeah, this is gonna work perfectly. That was it. Other than that, it's just been work all day, every day, work.
Yeah.
Life is.
Oh, you know what I noticed today?
What?
I left work at 4:15, and of course it wasn't dark yet, but it was kind of a semi-cloudy day here, and it was not bright out.
Yeah.
And so of course I started looking at where the sunsets are coming in. It's right around the corner where you're going to leave work, and it's going to be pitch black out. This is why I need to get the Christmas decorations up. This is why I need to just.
This has got to be a lie. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a political person, but if this is the case, I don't know what we're gonna do. Hold on a second.
Oh yeah, careful with the headlines people be sending.
This can't be right. Hold on a second.
So that's no. Linda McMahon just got appointed, or just got.
Yes. Are you freaking kidding me? What? Does she have a degree at all?
Vince McMahon's wife.
You gotta
Vince McMahon from WWE CEO just got named Secretary of Education. It's gonna be fun.
I need her credentials.
She ran the WWE.
Sorry. The fuck? Hold on. Like,
I'll be honest though.
All that.
If you're going to all right, let's say you pick 30 people for appointments. I know it's way more than that. Out of the 30, when you rack and stack them, one of them is going to be the least qualified. Even if they're all really qualified, someone's going to be the least qualified.
Nigga, look, I don't care. So far,
if there's any position
yet that has been qualified, period. I'm sorry,
no,
I'm
no.
not a political person, but I'm looking.
The
I need to know
politics
what
reads.
But if you gotta pick an appointment to put your least qualified person, it's Secretary of Education. Because if you look at the stats on that agency and the positive effect they've had on education in America, they've done such a piss poor job since their creation. Like, can you really do worse?
I mean,
Even
as
if
long as
somebody
the
sat there and did
undersecretary is,
nothing,
as long as they have Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock as the undersecretaries, I'm fine with
yes,
it.
you
Brando,
can
it's
go
what
and
your body craves. It's
you
got
can come and
electrolytes.
pull
Run.
you can come and pull some of the random teachers that have master's degrees that aren't being used, and instead of having one person in charge, put a group of people in charge. How about that? Like, this shit's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The more and
Well, I'm
more I
not
look at
saying you couldn't do
who's gonna be
good
running our
things with the
country,
Department of Education.
is there
I'm just
anybody in
saying we haven't.
Ireland that wants to take me under their wing? Anybody in England? Anybody anywhere? Canada, you guys have room for me? I'm large, I know. I don't eat
Canada's
that
not doing well up there either. It's it's a whole mess.
Go practice your Highland games in the Highland. Like, I'm sure when they see you
Yeah.
chuck a rock, they'll be like, "Yeah, come on, brother."
Yeah, I have enough in me. I got one. I
Go
got
Scotland.
1%.
Oh
Yeah, I
man,
got
yeah.
1%. Well, actually, I
Fun
have 12%
fact.
Scottish.
Fun fact. What's the
Uh-huh.
national animal of Scotland?
What is it?
A unicorn.
I had no idea. You
Yeah.
gotta be kidding me.
Well, we
No.
can end the
You know
episode
what?
on that. That's
I'll take the unicorn over Linda McMahon any day.
yeah. So you know where you messed up is you're paying attention to current events. We talked
Yes.
about this. Tune out, Chris. For your
I
own
haven't been
sanity.
up until
Head in the sand.
literally it flashed across. You know how you get the little notification? It flashed across. I'm like, what? What?
I'm just gonna stay in this little bubble of the office I have and just lock myself inside. Yeah,
Until your
yeah.
kids have to go to school and learn about wrestling.
But what about what if there's like some big international meeting of like leaders, and then
Vince
before
McMahon comes out with like strobe lights and
our
like
president comes out, they drop the lights and
John Cena.
yeah. He
Oh,
throws
Lord, I
somebody
hope
onto a
everybody
table, and
freaking
you
laugh
know,
at us right now.
at this point, come on now.
I should have worn my semestra. It's what Plants
Donald,
Crave shirt
man.
tonight.
Be rich.
Wore my
John made
semestra.
friends with Donald Trump. I don't even know where he lives. I should have found him and become his best friend, become his bodyguard. Then they could have named me Secretary of Defense, because apparently that one was a joke too. Anyway, let's get to the book, because this is like freaking me out a little bit. Like, I'm in the wrong
I'm gonna be
place.
cautiously optimistic.
I'm gonna go on there with you. You're in the military, so if you can be cautiously optimistic, I'll be there with you.
My kids don't go to public school, so I don't really care. But
Yeah, but say you don't.
yeah, we made that decision just because our city schools are horrible. Like,
and you know what's funnier? Newport News is still better than Charlotte, hands down. I swear.
But Newport News is bad. Like, sorry, don't mean to bash Newport News public schools, and it's really I will bash the school board, because the school board is just the problem.
Yeah, that's different. Anybody can get on the school board. It used to be popular enough.
Well, and the problem is they don't.
Apparently, anybody can get in the government. You just got to be popular enough. So
that's how it works. Anyway, so honey in the tea.
Yeah, we need some honey in our tea.
Need some honey in the tea. I was gonna drink my honey ale, but I drank that last week, so now I'm drinking volcano sauce. So it's kind of not honey at all, but just rubbing it in for you guys that aren't drinking. Lame. Anyway,
I got a bottle of water.
There you go. A bottle of water. Honey in the Tea, chapter 24. So, Egwene, speaking of SmackDowns, taking it raw, Monday Night Raw, Egwene decides to just embrace the pain, as the Aiel do. Take it as badges of honor, yeah.
She leans into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the spankings.
That's a way. Where do we start with this chapter? Well, before we really get into it, I'm not going to give a synopsis. I'm going to give you feels. This chapter, hopefully Alan can get us through each one of the steps of what Egwene did throughout this chapter, so we have time to hit on all of it. Because it kind of jumbles in my mind. But this chapter was so much fun. And
It's
every
fun.
step of the way, like the way it was written, just builds and builds. And it's like, ooh, and you see what's happening. You're like, ooh. And I remember messaging Chris, and I was like, all right, one, I hope and I think you're going to love this chapter. But two, it's not the typical chapter that we get super excited about. But I found myself very excited about this chapter. Yes,
Yeah.
all
I mean,
sorts
with
of
all
awesome.
the spankings, it's like you get a spanking. And you
Well,
get a
there's that
spanking, and
too.
you get a spanking.
You must
Except-
tie her down on a bed and spank her. It's spanking! It's spanking! You must spank her well, and after you have spanked her, you may deal with her as you like, and then...
Thank you.
100%.
I needed that. I knew it was going to happen at least 3 times. This
It's
episode.
gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it. So yeah, the episode or the episode, the chapter starts with she has to report to Sylvana,
Yes.
Sylviana, the first morning of her capture. She cries as she is spanked with a slipper, but refuses to snivel and writhe. So she does cry out in pain, but she refuses to
take that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Um,
this time, and we'll say it again every time after this. She's getting beat. When you're getting beat, you're getting beat.
Mhm.
And it comes out. But as soon as it's done, collects herself.
I mean,
she's
Eden witnessed me in high school get my ass pounded.
Ooh.
What's
Was
the
this the
guy's
jacket?
name?
What was his
Yeah.
name?
What was the dude's name? I think I was you. Jason? Was it Jason? He was big. I mean, the guy was huge.
Oh my gosh, I could see his face.
Yeah.
I don't
He was
remember
like
his
a
name.
punk rock guy, like really jacked, like really just a big dude. Like kind of like a Chris, but like super
What
punk rock.
happened?
So
He was unnecessarily aggressive.
he was unnecessarily aggressive, but I did deserve it, kind of in a way. So we had another friend, Brian, who was a super scrawny kid that we hung out with all the time, and he always wore his Adidas jacket. And we're outside school playing hacky sack, and he hadn't taken his Adidas jacket off. I thought it was his Adidas jacket on the ground, and something happened, and I was like, I'm just gonna go dance on his jacket. So I go over there and start just like tap dancing.
Literally tap dances on Brian's jacket.
And I look up, and Brian's wearing his jacket. And then I look over, and there is I want to say his name is Jason, but anyway,
Could be
big dude. Like,
Did he end up seeing you?
I don't know. He ended up just pummeling me. I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna take this.
And he was a big enough dude that, look, Alan was a bro back then, but the rest of us just went, oh no. Like,
we're
not confident he'd survive it. I was relying on my first aid abilities after the fact.
You kind of deserve it. You kind of just stomp on the dude's jacket. Like,
right. I moved in slow-mo, like, oh, Alan.
Yeah.
I was too late.
It wasn't like an accidental, like I tripped over and fell in his jacket. Like, no, I was like tap dancing, like stomping and rubbing it in the dirt and trying to get all muddy and stuff. And yeah,
it was like a cartoon because Alan is doing it, looks at Brian. You can see he notices Brian has his jacket on, looks over at the other guy. He's still dancing, but the dancing slows down. It's like, doop, 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 doop. Oh no.
Did he not even give you time to explain? He just came in
no, I think he 100% understood what happened because he had a smile on his face. It's like he also put 2 and 2 together, smiled at Alan, was like, don't care. Now I have my excuse. I get to pummel someone. It just lit him up. It was all kind of fun and funny for everyone there.
Except for me.
Yeah.
It's still funny for me.
Maybe
too.
Alan. Yeah.
You laugh about it today.
Yeah, I can laugh about it.
You're in a much better place than he is.
It was fun. Like, we ended up being cool and everything. Like, I mean, like, it was like one of my best friends or anything like that. This guy, like, I can't remember his name, obviously, but like, we were cool. Like afterwards and even before, like, it just.
If it tells you something, in high school, he drove a really cool car. I don't even remember what it was, and you're like, oh man, he drives this really cool car. But then, like 10 years later, when we're all starting careers and like, we have decent cars and everything like that, he was still driving the same car and it was all beat up. And you were like, oh, that fizzled.
Yeah, it happens.
You hate to see that.
I hate to see it. Anyway, get spanked. Sylviana.
The spy within the tower is the note that I took because Egwene is essentially taking her beating and understanding that this is part of what she needs to do to A, establish herself, and B, it allows her that insight. She can collect information and go to tell Riyadh and pass it on to all the other peoples. So
she's she it's interesting. It's like she has a plan, but not really. Like as this chapter goes on, she further defines it in her head. I don't know that she had 100% of the plan right off the bat. And we could get to that more later, like the battle versus the war thing, but it definitely makes more sense to her what she's doing as she's doing it throughout the chapter.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of me during this chapter and the last chapter where I kind of thought she purposely let herself get caught. Like she's kind of almost implying that.
Right. I don't know. Like I thought I mentioned that. Well, of course, Alan rolled his eyes at me like, no, it's stupid. But that's what Alan does. But I think there was a hint of that. I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, and it just, I don't like the people that were there that kind of snitched on her, betrayed her, whatever you want to call it. Like they all seem to kind of still be, close to her enough to where she's kind of like seeking them out, but also keeping her distance. And she does have this idea that she's going to walk the fine line, claiming to be Mother Amerlin while in the tower, kind of establishing herself low key, and then slowly trying to get people to like convert over to her way of thinking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, Donald Trump just named Dr. Oz too. Do you see that?
What?
Yeah, Dr. Oz, from the TV show.
What did I tell you about?
He's in charge of Medicare and Medicaid services.
Y'all stop it now.
He's a doctor. He's a doctor.
Is he a doctor? He's a heart surgeon, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to find the silver lining.
There's
more silver lining if you don't watch.
I'll take this. I can go with this. I can go with this.
Your eyes twitching kind of funny, Chris. What's that about? I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. So after the beating, she tells Egwene she did a good job, and she doubts she'll see Egwene again soon because she gets such a good beating that there's no way Egwene's going to come back. She also tells Egwene that she can go visit Lyanna down in the cells, and gives her instructions that she can visit if she wishes.
And Egwene thanks her by going, not going to curtsy, not going to address you as Aes Sedai. And by the way, when you get pissed about it, the Amerlin don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's right. That's who I am. No shit's given by the
Before we even get that far to the prison, we do realize that we got the Reds shadowing her, and they're like switching off like every 2 hours, which I think is weird. Is that like by design or just because none of them really want a babysitter? That's like my first question.
Just tired.
Like is what's her name afraid that she'll corrupt a couple of the Reds?
It might be that.
And then the tower has
guard rotations usually a little longer than 2 hours to piece, but that's just
So every time she goes in the door and comes out, another group of Red are watching her.
So also remember, before Egwene gets here, there's a whole lot of distrust within the tower, way worse than it's ever been. The Ajas don't trust each other, and then there's a lack of trust even within the Ajas, and then the rumors and then confirmations of Black Aja, and people are talking about it more. All of that could be playing into it. Gosh, I feel like we talked about this before, but maybe it was when we were talking about Cosmere stuff. I don't know. Now I'm mixing stuff up. But oh no, I think it was a chapter with Birgitte or whatever. We were talking about rotations. But I mean, whoever's in charge of putting this together, whether the Reds were tasked with it and then leadership within the Reds decided to rotate people like this. It's way too frequent to try and protect your Red Aes Sedai, saying, "Oh, we don't want to risk fatigue in case they need to shield her or whatever." It's too much rotating. This is more of a you don't trust your own people.
Correct.
I feel like it.
Oh, and then I think there's obviously cracks in the tower. I mean, that's
right. I used a lot of words to say just that.
It's okay.
Mhm.
There's also a large number of novices in the tower, nothing compared to what, she's got outside of the tower, but she's realizing that they're outside of the cracks within the Aes Sedai. There are enough novices looking to learn and looking to be led that she's realizing there's opportunity there. So something to think about and pay attention to, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and so as Egwene leaves, Alviarin is outside of Sylvana's office, and she's kind of surprised by that, and walks away to hearing her screaming. She's getting spankings too.
Again,
she goes back to her room.
Nice.
Yeah, to go tidy up in her room, and at that point, Nicola points out to her, points her out as other novices enter.
That's when she's headed to get food.
Yeah, she goes and gets food, and she says,
Yeah,
back
this
in
part. This
back
is
when she
important.
was in the tower, everyone used to love going to the mess hall, to eat because it was a good time for companionship, and everyone's taking their plates and going back to their rooms. It's like, this is not a good place. Like, no one wants to hang out with anybody right now. Like,
she's breaking it down, and she's like, yeah, there's a lot of disruption here. There's a lot that I can do. Again, it goes back to the conversation. Did she go on purpose, or did she go by accident and stay on purpose? Because she's realizing there's opportunity.
Yeah, and she's wanted for a while to bring everybody together. I didn't see it as soon as you did, Chris. You've been talking about that for a bit, and now that she's seeing how broken things are, it's funny. She has more concern for how much the tower is degraded. She has more concern for that than she does for her own well-being. She has
I don't even
none for her. She's like, beatings, I'll take it, but this is fucking ridiculous. Like, we got to fix
this. I could see her kind of not conceding completely to Elida, but kind of giving her a little bit of leeway and some forgiveness just to bring things back together. I mean, she even kind of pointing out some hypocrisies. There was the situation with Alva Star. She's like, you would give up the ability to lie, yet have others lie for you. When there was conversation about her trying to like trip her up and everything, and use the power at the dinner area, and then her realization, she's like, I'm in a prison, but I still have to be, the seat, the mother, the Amerlin, because they need that, and they don't have that. You can definitely feel that there's lacking leadership.
Yeah,
there's a figurehead.
The Blues have all been kicked out of the tower.
They're pretty much outlawed at this point.
Yeah, they're exiled. No, they've been kicked out of the tower. The Blues aren't.
So we tap danced around it, but because of how the chapter ends, it's important to highlight the scene of her going into the dining area, and it's after the ass whooping and head held high, and she's maintaining that sense of pride that the Amerlin should have, and then somebody trips her up.
Yeah.
And as she gets up, and there's the conversation back and forth, and that, like what you were not hinting at, what you said, Chris, she hits her back with, I am the Amerlin, da 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 da. Yeah. And she doesn't flip out on the girl, but she makes it a point to say that in front of all these novices, and all the novices are like, dang, she just got her ass whipped and she's still holding on to that.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, at this point, they're like rolling their eyes at it, like, you dumb girl. Like, they don't get it.
Yep. And then Katarine comes in after she's done eating to give her some more fork root. Not enough to make her pass out, but enough that she can't channel much. So she's pretty weak with the power, but just enough.
Well, we also can't forget to mention Laris.
I can hardly channel.
Which Lars helped her escape the first, or helped not her, but Swan and Men escape. So she's not necessarily, but no one knows that. But Egwene knows that, but no one at the tower, I don't think they know that.
She's watching Egwene kind of give her that look, and then Egwene's kind of giving her the look, and she's kind of winking her eye at her, and she kind of turns her head like, no.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah. I actually sometimes we complain about how Jordan draws things out, but this chapter is great. What was it, an hour and a half on Audible? Something like that. It was a long one. And he doesn't come right out and lay out Egwene's plan. Well, at double speed, it was a lot less, Chris.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I have 47 minutes on mine, but
right, so double it. But like, so right now we're starting to have this aha moment. Like, okay, Egwene, well, this makes sense. She has a little leeway, so now she's looking around and be like, who might be on my side? Who isn't? Like, how are people feeling about this? And she's starting to size everybody up. So it's kind of like he's starting to unfold the flower. It hasn't blossomed yet, but you can see it's thinking about it.
Yep. So after this, Egwene goes to her first class. This is a fun scene.
Amazing scene.
Yeah. So she goes to first class. Is
Don't
being taught, I
forget,
guess,
she did not excuse herself or curtsy to Katarina or anybody up to this
or
point.
anybody. No.
Right.
She's
That
Ireland.
continues.
That continues.
Like,
No curtsy, no dressing them as Aes Sedai. I'm surprised she's not saying child to all of them. I would have loved that.
yeah,
She
this is
probably
where
got
that
punched in
thin
the
line
jaw.
comes into play, boy.
She's smart about it.
Yeah,
She's
she is.
asserting herself, but not like putting her head directly on the chopping
Remember when
block.
we didn't like her when we thought she's the big baby? She has definitely matured in the last two minutes. I feel like we have in the book, the grand scheme of things, has it even been a year yet?
It's been over a year. I think about a year and a half.
Yeah. She's still gonna get a lot of kudos after this chapter for sure.
Yeah. So it goes to a first class. Minford, Eldarine Minford, or Irdrel Minford, who was jealous of Egwene rising so fast to accept it back when Egwene was before the tower split. She's in charge.
I thought I read it wrong. I thought her name was Professor Cunt.
Yeah.
Did I read that wrong?
Close enough. And kind of knowing that Egwene can't channel much because of the fork root, kind of like, can you make a fireball? Let's go, Egwene. How would you demonstrate? She's like, sure. So she makes a fireball. It's a little small one, like, oh, how cute. And she's like,
baby fireball.
How about another one? How about a third one?
Well,
a fourth one?
Egwene, first when she does the first one, then the professor starts getting all snarky, like, oh, looky there, how cute. And Egwene in her mind's like, oh, that's why she wanted me to do this. She wanted all these other novices to see that I can barely channel. Well, how about this? And that's like what you're saying, Alan, doing all the colors, two different shapes,
fires around it, doing all sorts of crazy juggling and everything like that.
How many different clothes by the time she was done?
Well, it was 7 different colors, but then 7 fire rings. So 14 flows. 14 flows.
Yeah, 14 flows.
14 flows.
Yeah.
And all the novices are like, what? And the teacher's like, stop it. Stop it.
At least
like her whole plan blew up in her face.
Starts trying to switch her and she's still channeling through the pain. Like,
drink it in.
Yep.
You get a spanking.
This was great.
Yeah, anyway. And when the sisters comes in, Katarina comes in, bursts in when I know what happens, and Idril, tells Katarina that Egwene won't stop channeling. So Katarina then starts to switch her, and I guess someone else steps in. It's like, you can't do too much of that. This is for the mistress novices. You're kind of overstepping your bound here. And Egwene's like, put you in your own place. Gotcha. I'll stop now.
It's the. I'll try not to say it too many times in this chapter, but it's the subtle dissidence. The Reds come in, and the professor whines and complains. So one of the Reds goes, Egwene, you need to stop that right now. And Egwene keeps doing it. Like there's not an immediate response. Also, she's still sitting down when all the other novices stood up. Yeah. So she's still juggling all these things.
They all curtsied too.
And then right before that Red starts to give the order again, she stops. Completely. She's complying, but not immediately. There's enough. You don't tell me what to do, and her act. I mean,
I work for no woman.
Right.
And then on top of that, like when they told her, go and get another spanking from Sylviana.
And she goes and just walks slowly away, and they're like, run.
Yeah, they're like, run, girl. And she glides away. That's when she starts.
Glides. That's the word they use. Yeah.
Smack. And that's when the other Red steps in, and she's like, and also add to it the fact that you did not obey the rules of an Aes Sedai. She's like, okay, I'll let her know. It got so bad that Sylvie
add it to the list.
Diana's like, we're gonna add healing to your list too. That way we can actually keep beating you, because clearly I'm gonna have to heal you before I beat you.
Yeah.
So this is a nod to what level of hell is that? Where they say Brutus is. where you're
Never
constantly
read.
getting healed and then constantly getting your flesh shredded and constantly getting
Yeah.
healed and constantly getting shredded from
It's also
Dante's
Greek
Inferno.
mythology. It's what's the name of the guy in Greek that's eaten by a bird every single day and then gets healed?
Right. Yeah.
He's the one who gave Prometheus.
Yep.
I think it's Prometheus. Yeah, doesn't Prometheus get eaten by a bird every day or something like that?
Could be.
He
But
gave
anyways,
man fire. Anyway,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is Prometheus.
that's pretty messed up. I'm gonna heal you just so I could torture you some more. Well, punish, but no.
I never read Dante's Inferno, so
yeah, the torture of Prometheus. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep, it's Prometheus. Anyway, cool. So where are we? So also from here on out, Egwene's ordered to only have solo sessions with Aes Sedai for training because they don't want her influencing. Yeah, an eagle rips out his liver every day. That's what it is.
Seed has been sowed.
I see. I remember my Greek mythology a little bit.
Mhm.
That was his punishment for giving man fire, right? Yeah, for teaching
Yeah,
man how.
that part
Fire go.
is correct. Now.
So the eagle eats his liver out every day, and then grows a new one.
Is this around the so shortly after the we're gonna heal you, we're gonna punish you, we're gonna heal you, we're gonna punish you? Shortly after is when she has that realization of like how it's easy to endure this. She instead of focusing on the little battles, she's thinking about the war
The
as a
badges of
whole
honor.
and the badges of honor. Because every time she gets sent there, it's because she stood her ground. It's because she didn't give in. She's still the Amerlin seat.
Yeah.
She's still going to carry herself with a certain amount of dignity. She's not going to lower herself no matter what they do to her. And that became an encouragement. So when you beat me, it's affirming. Be like, yeah, you whipped my ass because I'm doing the right thing.
She determined that at the end of the chapter, but yes, this
It's
is
further on. Okay,
what I
good.
looked into it.
Felt like we were getting close to that. I didn't want to miss it because that was and that kind of plays into what I was saying, like how neat this chapter is and how it's almost like she didn't have that solid plan to start with, but it's all together. And, yeah.
I'm right there with you. This is
So
the part that she's going to the different training, that she's walking the halls of the Aes Sedai's quarters and realizing that they're all in fear of each other.
Yeah. Before that,
it's
she
all
goes and
business
visits Lyanna. She does go visit Lyanna for a little bit, so we're skipping over that scene. It's a short.
No, that comes right after.
Oh yeah.
I actually took notes this time, so.
Oh, okay, it comes after. She goes to the Aes Sedai lessons right after Lyanna, right?
Yeah, she goes to Aes Sedai lessons first, then she goes to Lyanna.
Then she goes to Lyanna. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, she has 2 more classes. That's right.
Correct.
And then she goes to Lyanna. Then she has more classes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lyanna thing is great.
Yeah.
So her having
really
been full
nice.
Aes Sedai, she's gonna be Aes Sedai. She doesn't have to do the novice thing. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
She's
being
like
that she
watched
was
by Browns and Warders.
yeah, but being that she was stilled and then got her channeling back, she doesn't look like herself. So it took a while for everybody to be convinced that it was her. I forgot about that whole thing with the being stilled and then getting it back.
And she's literally like living in the lap of luxury right now. Like she has her own toilet. It's kind of hidden out of sight. She's got a nice cushy bed. She's getting 3 full meals.
It's not too bad.
Getting visitors. They all are asking her questions. She's got a shield against her, but at the same time, they're letting her practice her magic because they're trying to get her to teach them things that she now knows.
Traveling. That's one thing they try over and over.
Why they really want the traveling.
Yeah.
And on top of everything else, she's trying to figure out whether or not she's going to go back to her original Aja or if she's going to switch or.
She's trying to lobby to be a green. And
would she say she's never going to give it up? Do you think she's never going to give it up?
You son of a. I saw that smirk. I was like, what is that smirk for? Oh boy.
Never gonna give you up. So also she asks Egwene, Lyanna says, okay, so when are we escaping? And Egwene's like, escape?
Yeah.
No. We're right where we want to be. Like, we're exactly where we want to be.
Stamp in 2025. News is important again.
What?
Betty White is getting her own stamp in 2025.
Oh, is she?
There we go. We could be proud of that.
Yes.
I've always wanted
Are
to
you
lick
watching?
her.
Are you still reading the news, Chris? Stop.
No, I'm done reading. I'm getting updates from a friend now.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So she tells Leanna her plan that she thinks she can make the whole tower turn on Elida.
Yeah, because she's
And-
like, when are we breaking out of here? And she's like, we're not. She's like, what? We're not?
Yeah.
She's like, no, we're gonna stay. She's like, why? Why would we stay?
Yeah. She's
enjoying
even ordered Swan to tell the rest of the sisters not to try to save her. She's like, I'm right where I want to be. Like,
Yeah.
don't come save
I
me.
love that in this interaction, even with Egwene being captured and everything, there's an unquestionable loyalty here. Because even though she's like, "Are you sure?" Like, "Oh man, we should be XYZ." At the end, she's like, "All right,
Yeah.
mother." Addresses her as mother. Be like, "If this is the plan, this is what we're doing," and she's just 100% on board with it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So then the next scene is when Egwene has a lesson from Nasald, Brown sister. She asks Egwene to demonstrate various weaves and tries to get her to show her traveling. Egwene's like, nah.
Nope.
Nah. I ain't gonna do
Y'all don't need that. Y'all aren't responsible enough to have that one.
She's like, you're such a good one. You're doing such a good job. She's like, show me traveling now.
Yeah. And then she schools the Browns, which I thought was hilarious. Brown's like, "Oh yeah, you're pretty good with the power, but how are you good with the histories? So tell me about this person." What? Ben? Yeah.
Another highlight of this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, tell me about this Armelin in this war and what mistakes they were made. And Gwen's like, "Oh, do you want the history or the real history?" And the Browns like, "What?"
She didn't make any mistakes.
She didn't make any mistakes. Actually at all. Like, in fact, you thought she died during the whole thing? She died years later and suffocated in her bed, like way later, way later. But she was
when they were trying to reappoint her as Amerlin, or there was a.
She's like, you have the secret history in the 13th dispensary,
the 13th depository. Yeah, she's like, where'd you learn? Like, oh yeah, that's right. Only for Amerlin, our sitter, you're allowed to know about that. Oops, I probably should have told you that exists.
So you don't know.
And
telling a Brown that they don't know something.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't know everything.
By the way, 6 times they tried to depose the current Amerlin for a new one.
Not tried. 6 coups.
Yeah. So if we want to do one too, it could happen. If you don't want to listen to Elida and you maybe want me to open up this
the 13th depository for you, so you can go do all the research.
You get me in there. You get your Browns on board, and I'll open up a whole new world for you.
Y'all Browns just been pretending to be a Brown. I could make you an actual Brown. You could actually know the stuff and the things.
Yeah,
a whole new world.
This is also where she found out that Elida made a mistake and tried to kidnap Rand. It kind of clicked at that point. She's like, "Oh, this is why Rand hates us."
Yeah. Yet another thing. She's like, "I'm gonna need to fix that at some point. That's a problem."
Yeah.
And Elida don't even know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's getting the lessons on the power of limits.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm unlimited."
And then I love at the very end of all this, like after all this, she gets paddled or whatever, and then it's like, and then she's like, kind of respects Egwene for taking it. She's like, I wish Catson was here. She would definitely know how to handle you. And Egwene's like, oh, good old catty cat.
This is when she's like, yeah, the badges, the spankings are a badge of honor, and even Nicholas saw her with more respect. So
yeah. So she's planting all these different seeds and all these different groups too. Egwene learned how to embrace the pain. She manages to smile if Sylviana punishes her again. Also, the attitudes begin to change amongst the novices. They're all starting to slowly look at her as the Amerlin. So she's getting the younger crowd, getting the youth to rebel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they start to rebel in their own way, and she only knows this because she's not learning with them anymore.
Right.
But during their mealtime, she notices that there's like a half a dozen, then a dozen of them that can't sit down or struggling to sit down because they butts got whooped.
Right.
So it's spreading.
But then novices begin approaching her for advice too.
Okay, so a couple things to note here. there were the novices that were acting out and got their butts whooped, but any one of them that got their butts whooped only did one time because that's how painful and miserable it is, and they wouldn't rebel again.
Right.
And then they watched Egwene get it daily, multiple times a day. So as the respect is building, you got to keep that in mind.
Right. We also learned some Bublés are going on inside the tower. Got some Michael Bublés going on.
Okay,
Some walls
so
changing.
this is the reason why I should be better about the ebook. And this is why you guys said it was an hour and a half. And I said, no, it wasn't. Because on the ebook, this is a new chapter.
Oh, you didn't read through this.
I have only
because yours are still probably all shuffled up.
Yeah, and I've had 2 updates. So like I have chapters in here that are hour and 20 minutes long. That one was only 45 minutes.
The ending of this chapter, I mean, it's nothing new. It's kind of where you see it's going, but it's so good. It's heartwarming. You just want to hug Egwene and all the novices. You just want to, I just want to be there.
Now you're lying to me. Now I have to
I'm not. It was so good.
So should we continue then?
That's completely up to y'all. Y'all can continue. We all can continue. At this point, I'm listening because I have zero idea what happens for the next half of the chapter.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can continue, and you can just kind of catch up.
I'll listen, and then I'll listen later.
Yeah, you can listen later. That's fine.
We might have to convince Alan to read a little bit towards the end.
I found the book. Where's my book?
It's okay.
At least the final scene with the novices, and
yeah. All right. Well, the wheel reads without Chris. Keep going.
Yeah, you can listen in. That's fine. So there's novices. Begin pressure for advice, and take comfort about her saying that ghosts can't hurt you, even if you're seeing ghosts walk through the walls and things like that. She dries one of the novices' tears, and
so it's not just helping the novices out with learning a channel or like Aes Sedai stuff. It's with the troubles and difficulties of being a novice, the emotional side of things. I mean, she is, they call Amyrlin mother. She is being a mother to all of these.
And see, I did novices. I accidentally listened like 5 minutes into it. I was like, oh, this is another chapter. Stop.
Yeah.
So I did get that part at least. So for me, I was like, oh my goodness, is she gonna win over a bunch of them? Is this how it's gonna work? Is this how she's gonna overthrow Elida? So that's where my mind started going, and I was like, wait,
bottom up.
Yeah. No, continue. I'll stop in post.
I mean, this is how this is how you would overthrow other countries. You don't just go in and take them out from the top. That doesn't work very well. The U.S. has tried that, and then it's utter chaos. But if you could get boots on the ground and start from the bottom up, little descent here, little descent there, little motivation there, let it change like that.
Yeah. So, next scene, Egwene keeps on being busy about her chores. She also notices that Loras never uses the spoon on her. So she kind of starts to notice something. It's like, oh, Loras, the kitchen's on my side. Okay.
She's looking for hints on who's maybe not with her, but not against her. Kind of standing back, waiting to see what happens. That's a good step.
Yep. Yeah, and then some of the chores allow her to actually go to the accepted quarters when she goes to there, and then several of the accepted tried to, Mara and Asil, they try to order her around, and she's like, "Nah, I'm not going to listen to you."
By the way,
which gets her trips to Sylviana. Amyrlin. Yeah, you can't do shit to me. Yep. When she trips to Sylviana, let's see. When trips to Sylviana don't make her give in or be accepted, they gradually cease trying to order her around. So the accepted stop trying to, because they realize that getting her beat doesn't stop her from making her listen.
She is.
Yeah. She starts to learn more and more about divisions amongst the Ajas.
And she's not just collecting info on her own.
Yeah.
What's her name that's locked up that she was talking to earlier?
Liana.
Yeah, Liana. They've had meetings along the way as this is unfolding, and Liana's almost having more success than Egwene being locked up because all the different Aes Sedai are visiting her and talking to her. And even mentions, well, she has a little more standing. It's not coming from me. It's coming from another Aes Sedai saying that I am who I am, or suggesting, put all these hints out there. So they're winning people over a little at a time.
Yeah. Let's see. She also starts to learn through all this about all the different disasters that they've had. So just trying to send sisters down to the Black Tower. Just a bunch of different stuff like that. That just they
Lots of decisions being made.
Yep. And then let's see. Albriana does approach her at one point. One day, she's raking the water garden. She hints to Egwene that she might want to escape. And then Egwene's like, "No, I'm content. I'm good." And Albriana's like, "What?" It's like,
Again, I'm right where I want to be. Things are working just fine.
And Albriana keeps coming back and keeps on trying to, hey, you could escape, right? There's some ways to do this. And it's like, no, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not code for anything. I'm not winking. I'm fine.
Yeah.
This is fine.
This is fine. Yeah. And then we get to the scene where she's cleaning the hallways and Matt and Stephaneus, the king of Ilion, comes in. And this is a fun scene. So, Ian, you want to take this one? This is fun.
I almost forgot about this. This is good. But there's so much other good I almost forgot. Well, he recognizes Egwene, right? Like he does a double take. And it's like, and he's getting paraded around by a couple of Reds, right? Or at least a couple of sisters, but they're definitely walking him around. And he's like, "Oh, I'd like to talk to her." And they're like, "No, you can't do that. No, there's no talking to her." He's like, "Wait a minute.
She's from the same village as Rand."
Same village as Rand.
I think Chris is like deuces. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All good.
Or maybe he fell asleep on the keyboard.
No, I think he probably just wants to go read this.
Well, I wouldn't blame him. I mean, again, it's not like a fight battle scene that we get so excited about, but I loved the end of this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And you want me to keep going on this part?
Oh yeah, keep going.
Yeah, might as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Egwene's playing it cool. She's listening to him talk to the Aes Sedai and and they're trying to keep him away from her. And eventually their paths cross enough. She stands up and boom, he's there.
Right.
And even though she was doing her chores and she's wearing the novice white and everything, she stands tall and greets him and hello, whatever his name is, I already forgot.
Step it is, yeah.
And very quickly in this back and forth, she reveals everything to this guy that he needs to know. Like, "Oh, so you've been kidnapped?" "No, I wasn't kidnapped. I was saved." He's like, and she's like, "Interesting. And so you're being led around and monitored and you can't really make decisions on your own and and you're not a prisoner." Cool.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, Rand did this and the Dragon Reborn did this and so did that. And I heard this rumor. And she just went down the line and was like, "Interesting that none of those are true because this happened and then Morgaze this and then this happened. And actually this is..."
It's like, how about you go ask Aes Sedai because they can't lie. Ask them.
Right.
And
if you would have just asked them, they would have had to tell you exactly what I just told you.
Yeah.
And he's like, my whole world just he's like, "I had to get away or Rand would have killed me." And she's like, "Nah, I know that dude. That's not what would happen." Interesting.
No. Yeah.
But she didn't come out and say that he was lied to. But the way she put it, it was pretty much, "They've been lying to you. They definitely kidnapped you."
I think he came up with his own conclusions on why they took him, and then they just didn't say one way or the other. So they didn't lie. It's lies on mission.
Right.
Which I can do.
But that's the whole thing that we're starting to learn about these oaths and everything. Everybody else that works intimately around Aes Sedai, and especially Aes Sedai amongst each other, they know that the whole "I can't lie to you" thing is not really helpful because they've just gotten really good about not lying, but still can say just enough to get you to believe a lie.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
and Katerina, is it? No, it's Corinda. Tells Egwene to be quiet and sends her to Sylviana to be punished again.
And
She's
she's
like,
just
okay,
like,
well, no,
okay,
all right. Okay.
it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
You know?
good talking to you. Yeah, good luck with the kidnapping thing. Good luck being hostage.
Yeah.
And
Why
I
don't you
said
test those
never
boundaries,
means.
see if you can make your own decisions. See how that
That's
works
a
out.
quote from book 1, and I said I never means what you think you hear.
Right.
So,
And it just keeps getting worse as these books go on.
I know. Egwene sees on her way down to the Mistress of Novices, she sees Benowin, and
The betrayer.
yeah, and immediately it's like, you betrayed me. That means you must be Black Aja. And they're like, you accuse someone of Black Aja here? Like, he's like, it must be because you took an oath.
Simple logic.
And
Yeah.
simple logic. And yeah, and she tries to work her way out of it. Aes Sedai way, say like, well, because of this and this and this means that you're not. So therefore, I'm not
Right.
lying.
Once you were captured, then you weren't the Amerlins, so I didn't have to serve you. And it's I don't necessarily think she's Black Aja, because remember, it's not necessarily that it is or isn't true. It's whether or not that person believes it is or isn't true. So they can't outright lie, but if they're convinced of something, whether or not it's true, they can say it.
Right. And
right.
how she determines it says like, she tries to say that she's never betrayed anyone, but she can't even say it. And she's like, oh, you're still bound by 3 oaths. Okay, cool. You're not Black Aja.
Yep.
Yeah.
Internet.
But Egwene does figure out that she did betrayed ferrets. So
yeah, who are the ferrets? Because they're down in ferret jail, right?
Yeah.
Are these just normies?
I think so. I can't remember exactly. It's been too long since I've read these books, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just regular old people.
Yeah. Yep. Says some things. Egwene warns her that there will be a penance for this. And informs her she's not released from her oath. And that, she still serves her.
Yeah, gives orders. And when there was a hint of balking, Egwene was like, but as I go get my ass whooped, I could just spill the beans about everything about you.
Yeah.
I could just tell the truth, right? Because that's what that's what I should do.
Right.
And then she's like, okay, tell me what those orders are again, and I'll see what I can do about it.
Yeah. Yep. Later that day, she meets with Lyanna, tells her that BNN is the traitor. Elena's like, yeah, she's ambitious. That's normal. Norin's also there, tells Egwene that she needs to go to bed because she's exhausted. Yeah, and Egwene asks Lyanna, in not so many words, whether she'll reveal the weave of traveling. They kind of test, and they find out that Benowin hasn't revealed it either. So obviously, she still hasn't completely betrayed them. Just betrayed her, but not all the rebels.
Right. Which is also kind of reassuring to Egwene that she has somebody there that hasn't given up on the movement per se. And also, there's the risk in trying to gain favor and coming back to the tower and being like, let me just blabber everything I know, so you trust me. And these Aes Sedai always trying to get positions of power and influence. If she came back and shared traveling, which obviously they're desperate to find out, that's something that could have put her up on a pedestal, but she didn't. So Egwene's taking that and being like, okay, I could work with this. I could work with you. The relationship's not dead. Don't worry. Not thrilled about what you did, but here we are. Let's make the best of it.
Right. The ferrets were sent by Salidar 6 before the rebel hall was formed, sent to tell the Reds about Logain.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. After all that, the next morning, Dosine heals Egwene before more punishment from Sylviana. She's impressed by Egwene, but believes at some point she will break. And that morning, after her punishment, Egwene just flat out asked Sylviana, like, how is Elida allowed to reduce Aes Sedai to accept it. There's no provision in Tower Law for that. And so I was like, there's no prohibition either. So technically it's a loophole. Like nothing says you can or can't. So
Nah. But Egwene is smart to ask this because of all the things that Elida has done. That's the one that rubs the most people the wrong way. And really what she says is the person that got reduced to accepted, she didn't fight it.
Right.
Had she fought it, then maybe
a lot
maybe
of
it wouldn't happen, or maybe people would have stood up for her, whatever. But because she took it, then now it's canon essentially. You can do it because it happened.
Yeah.
You know, which is a
it's
bullshit argument. It was neat. I think the highlight of this was not just that, because that's come up before, and Egwene's been using that as a seed that she's planting because she knows it pisses people off.
Right.
But at a certain point, the person doing the punishing stops and goes, well, looky here. You got me chit-chatting with you. And she's like, I guess there's like no rule against that, but it's definitely not proper. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead and schedule you for another ass whipping later. Have a nice day. You know?
And she knows Egwene won't curtsy her on the way out. She's like, oh, whatever. I'll whoop your ass.
I'm just going to go ahead and mark you down for being Amerlin.
Your next session. And then we come to the final scene where Egwene goes to breakfast. And yeah, she walks into the hall, and all the novices stand at her entrance into the mess hall or whatever.
Yep. And even in this, she doesn't let it change her demeanor. She still walks, with the same glide and grace. She recognizes it, but goes to move to go get her plate.
They give her, they go fetch her breakfast for her. They even have a pillow for her to sit on.
Yep. They rush ahead and get her stuff for her. The pillow was a nice touch.
And they put honey in her tea.
She sat down and nobody moved or did anything until she took the first bite, and then everybody kind of relaxed, and she sips her tea and she had some honey in it.
And Sylviana resigns as well at the very end of the chapter.
Yeah.
We learned that she had resigned.
So the plan is coming together.
She's like, Dosing's questions Sylviana's resignation, and now honey from the novices. This means she's winning the war.
Yeah. And I'll say it again, just so well written. We have the Egwene perspective and what she's thinking along the way. You go back to the beginning of the chapter, and it's not like Egwene had all of this planned from the get-go. It just, as it unfolded, she was improvising and looking for opportunities. And it was that perfect balance of standing my ground and who I am, but not being so disrespectful that I'm getting beat for no reason. Like I'm gonna continue to be me. But just everything come together. It was great.
Yep.
It was one of my most favorite chapters in.
Yeah.
This might top some of the fight scenes. It was so clever.
This is fun. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun chapter.
Yeah. I didn't know I needed it.
Definitely.
But I got it and I love it.
Yeah. Sounds good. So I guess we'll just jump right into favorite character. I mean, there's the obvious one.
I was gonna say, this of all chapters, it's almost like, why are you even asking that? How could it be anybody other than Egwene? Like, it's almost this should be okay. Egwene's number one, but if you had to pick a number two, who would it be?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it.
So Egwene number one, number two.
Give it to Lars.
4.
Give it to Lars. For just being I don't know, not whipping being quietly on Egwene's side. I don't know.
Yeah. Who's the head of the kitchen?
That's Lars. Yeah. That's
okay. Yeah. No. Then you're on point. It's like right off the bat, looking a little grumpy, stirring with the spoon, but not really getting into Egwene's shit. And then in the end, the tea honey comes out, and she's like, "Wink," Yeah. That's fair.
She's a good one for number 2 of this chapter. But yeah, all in all, great chapter. Great building of character. character arc. So yeah. Next time, hopefully Chris catches up. By the way, Chris did text us and said that his internet went out. So it wasn't he was just trying to dip out. His internet actually.
No, I actually don't mind that because I would love for him to listen to the end of this.
Yeah.
Without me spoiling it, because I sometimes he hears things in a different way.
Yeah.
And we could talk about it a
Yeah.
little bit even on this episode if he wants.
Yeah. So next week we'll be doing 2 chapters. We'll do chapter 25 and 26, which is attending Elida. Ooh, interesting. And as if the world were fog. As if the world were fog. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Should be fun. Looking forward to it.
The Elida one, all right. That kind of easy to guess. But what's the next one?
As if the world were fog.
This is where I need Chris. He's generally better at guessing where we're going with these chapters. I think because I want to get back to Perrin and them doing the tea and all the wise ones, I keep going, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. But maybe it is it. You know, they're all in a fog because they drank that tea and they're like, what?
Yeah. 2
But
more
probably
great
not.
chapters. Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
we're at
2
a
more
book
great chapters.
and a point in it where every time we finish thinking we just had a great chapter, somebody chimes in like, oh, these next ones are my favorite. And
Yeah.
they've all been good recently. So this has been fun.
People are weird. I never like how people respect and follow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Matt, I'm not a lord. Do this and listen. No, I'm not. But no, I'm not a lord. Yeah, it's fair. If you're going to give someone experts on Jordan's writing, it'd be this chapter. Yeah, Gramps, good point. Yeah, like someone that wants to explain how beautiful Jordan can write. These are like the kinds of chapters that goes back to like that really the slog struggles with finding this because it's all these bridge stuff that we need to have all that to get here, but it's really tough because you have to work through all books and books and books of just nothing really happening, but a lot of buildup that's laying the work for all this to happen. So anyways, yeah, so we'll be doing 2 chapters. It'll be fun. We'll do it next Tuesday, I think, unless there's something weird going on that day. No, that's 26. Yeah, we'll do it next Tuesday. And how you can be found is at thewheelreads.com. I do plan on putting out another episode this week. Woohoo! I haven't been doing it every week as far as putting out podcast episodes. We record it every week, so we're way ahead. I'm like, I got so many episodes to release. I've been like putting out every other week just because with all the house stuff and everything like that, I was so busy. And then like now that we're not moving, we're getting ready to renovate. So now it's a different busy season. So like it's just my life is lifing, and I had a really, really busy couple of months, and it's still going that way. Now we're going to holidays, so maybe I'll actually have some time in the holidays to get some stuff done. We'll see. No promises. Don't hold your breath. I'll do what I can. Whenever I get a chance. But yeah, go like, subscribe, follow us, do all those great things. Click on the links. Patreon's out there if you want to support us. There's merchandise too. You can buy all sorts of cool shirts. Not this one. This one's Black Tower podcast shirt. But yeah, we have shirts. Go check them out. They're kind of cool. Yeah, it's a lot cooler to go to our website like CNN or Fox News or anything like that, or anywhere where you get your news, BBC.com or anything like that, just because yeah, we're cooler than the world news right now. And yeah, that's all I got for this week. So
until next time. Peace.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching The Wheel Reads.
Until next time.
Okay, bye.
Get your Coast Guard certified life-saving device ready and strapped on.
Oh, where are we doing tonight?
What kind of strap on you talking about?
Sure.